Around me fragrant and crowded, collie weed lamb spread, straight from Cali. Purple cushion, purple granddaddy, blue dream, blue velvet, blue Afghani. Plant kush, blueberry, Napa Valley, enjoying Durban poison and northern lights. Put on my headband to get my head right. My night nurse is night queen. I needed a night. Some stank, some dank, sour diesel delight. Whoa, I'm in love with the pure hybrid. Every chain is so many different strains. Yeah, one for focus, one for pain, one for the body, one for the brain, one for night, and one for day, one for work, and one for play. I love about 34 different ocean cushions, Skywalker Tahoe, Girl Scout cookies, critical mass, tangerine hash, super crystal, blackjack and green crack, power plant, king's bread, Romulan, blackberry kush, royal flush, and harlequin chocolate. I'm buried in smoke and lost off that great white shark and strawberry cough. We can't dismiss Cindy 99 or Swiss Miss, the white mighty Pineapple Express, sativas, indicas, ruderalis, cannabis varieties all up in my chalice. That Shiva Shakti, skunk and Swayze, Acapulco Golden Island lady, early girl, little Jamaican pearl. I need mason jars filled with every strain in the world. I'm in love with the pure hybrid. Mary Jane, there's so many different strains. Hey, one for focus, one for pain, one for the body, one for the brain, one for night, and one for day, one for work, and one for play. I love the blaze. That's it, y'all. Illuminati Congo.
So again, my name's Ali. I'm the Assistant Director of Illinois NORML, and we're here at the 2013 Chicago Global Cannabis March, Global Marijuana March, celebrated in hundreds of cities all over the world, the first Saturday in May. So we're out here today, Saturday, May 4th, to do that. We'll have a rally with some music, some speakers, and then we will have a little bit of marching going on as well. So speaking, we're here supporting cannabis and cannabis policy reform in general, but speaking specifically about Illinois and what's going on in Illinois with the current bill, House Bill 1 is the bill that's gone through the House, the medical cannabis bill that's passed the House in April. It's now pending in the Senate. It's scheduled for a Senate committee hearing next week. Hopefully it will pass that committee hearing, be sent to the full Senate floor, and from there be sent to the governor's desk to be signed into law. So if people want to help out, the best thing they can do is to contact their state senators. You can look that information up online and find out who your local state senator is, not Dick Durbin and Mark Kirk, but your local state senator in Springfield. You can contact them in either their district or their Springfield office and let their staffer know that you support House Bill 1 and that you hope that they'll support it as well.
All right, I just want to get your internet address there.
Sure.
Tell us about it.
So
where do we find you online?
IllinoisNormal.org is our website, and it has all sorts of information about our events, our activities, different things going on in Illinois related and in general related to cannabis policy reform. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, so you can get more information there too.
And beside the House bill that's going through right now, what can people do to help support marijuana legislation reform?
So supporting organizations like ours is always helpful, but working directly to build a relationship with your local representatives, your local state representative and state senator, to help convince them why you not only represent yourself, but represent a large portion of your community that believes that we need to change our policies relating to cannabis, that we need to move to a tax and regulate model where consumption and possession would be legal for adults, and that you support all of these positive changes.
And on the federal level, to get this taken off the Schedule 1.
So again, there's a number of bills currently pending that have been introduced in the federal Congress relating to tax and regulate, relating to medical, relating to hemp, as well as relating to states' rights. So you can support any number of those initiatives. Most likely, the states' rights initiatives will get the most traction first, although that remains to be seen. But there's any number of federal initiatives you can look up that are relating to cannabis policy reform.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
My name is Dan Lynn, and I'm the Executive Director of the Illinois chapter of the National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws. We're here on this beautiful spring day, lobbying and rallying to end cannabis prohibition. We're here trying to get more people involved so that we can pass a medical cannabis bill through the Illinois Senate. The Illinois House of Representatives recently passed House Bill 1 with it, which is a medical cannabis bill that would protect seriously ill patients from arrest and give them safe and legal access to this medicine if their doctor recommends it. We're hoping to educate the public today and get more people to support ending cannabis prohibition entirely so that we can legalize, tax, and regulate this substance just like alcohol and tobacco, get it off the streets, get it sold in shops from licensed retailers, get it produced in facilities that have quality controls and checks and standardizations for the product so that people know what they're getting when they buy it. Because right now, with our current prohibition, people are buying cannabis from illegal drug dealers, and those drug dealers have no incentive to keep it out of the hands of children. They do not ask for ID, and there's also no quality controls if they're lacing the substance or putting any other additives in it. The best way for people to get involved is to join Illinois NORML. We are a membership-based organization. We also have an email list that people can sign up for on our website, which is Illinois spelled out, NORML, NORML.org. Again, that's NORML, NORML, which is the National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws. We're here the first weekend in May, all over the world with the Global Cannabis March. Please come out and join us next year. Please join our organization so that we can more effectively end cannabis prohibition, because the more people we have, the sooner we'll be able to change these laws.
And what is happening, we've talked about the Illinois State Legislature passing the law through the House of Representatives, and I believe the bill is now coming out of committee this week for the Senate.
Yeah, we hope that on May 8th, the medical cannabis legislation, House Bill 1, will come out of the Senate Executive Committee. After that, it will go to the full Senate for a floor vote, and if it passes the Senate, it'll go to the governor's desk. We are optimistic that we can get this bill not only out of committee and through the Senate, but have the governor sign it into law. We just need supporters to be contacting their state senators and the governor, letting know that they support House Bill 1 and that they want their state senator to vote for House Bill 1. Supporters can call 217-782-2000, which is the Capitol switchboard for the Illinois State Capitol, and ask to be connected to their state senator, and tell their state senator and the staffer that answers the phone that they support House Bill 1 and that they would like their state senator to vote yes on House Bill 1, the Compassionate Use of Medical Cannabis Pilot Program Act.
And on the federal level, what are the bills that are in committee right now, and how can we help get that passed through?
Well, there are a number of bills on the federal level. The best way to get involved and help those bills are to set up an appointment to meet with your congressman, let them know that you support ending cannabis prohibition, let them know that you support allowing states to legalize cannabis and get the federal government out of the way, and as well as letting the congressman know that you support patients who are arrested under federal law to be able to use the medical defense in a court of law that their doctors have recommended them to use medical cannabis. Because right now, even if a person is using medical cannabis under state law with the recommendation of their doctor, they're still guilty of violating a federal crime, and in a federal court they're not even allowed to say that they are a medical cannabis patient. So that would be one way to help as well. But simply contacting your congressman as well as your U.S. senator and letting them know that you support legalizing cannabis, ending cannabis prohibition, and taxing and regulating this plant is by far the best way to see a change on the federal level for this law.
And few people know that we actually have snatched people from outside of America and brought them into federal prison.
Yes, there's one gentleman that comes to mind specifically whose name is Mark Emery, who was selling seeds in Canada, which was not a serious penalty from the Canadian laws. However, the U.S. government not only arrested arrested Mark Emery, but extradited him to our country, and he is now in prison, even though he's a Canadian citizen and was doing something in Canada that was somewhat tolerated by the Canadian government. He is a political prisoner. When the United States government arrested him, they said that he was being arrested because he was a major funder for the legalization movement, which means that he is a political prisoner, and we have been working to not only extradite Mark Emery back to Canada, but to get all of his penalties and sentences commuted and wiped away as well.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to add as far as getting the message out to our listeners?
Sure. Whether or not people support legalizing cannabis or not, I think that it's important that people learn how this law came about in the first place, because cannabis has not always been made illegal. It was only made illegal in 1937 with the Marijuana Tax Act. And that law was passed under racist fear-mongering and yellow journalism from entrenched industries in the forestry, newspaper, and textile industries. If people look at how this law was passed, there is no way that this law should still be on the books. And the more that people educate themselves on cannabis prohibition and our drug laws, they will see that we went from an era of slavery to Jim Crow laws to now the war on drugs, where we have disproportionate numbers of black men being arrested and imprisoned for drug crimes, despite the fact that whites and blacks use drugs equally across the board. This type of law has allowed many members of society to be disenfranchised and oppressed due to having a felony conviction on their record. And this is a serious problem that we need to address, because if we want people that are released from prison to be able to gain lawful employment, we need to make it easier for them to do so with having a felony conviction on their record. Please learn more about cannabis prohibition and the war on drugs by going to drugwarfacts.org. Thank you.